Oh yeah, welcome friends. Good to see you, Roswell and Sweet Tea. Joyous and shenanigans. House music, of course. Romper, bumper, stomper, boom. Beauty day in Alberta for a change? Is that right? It's rainy today. Let's get rid of some of this snow. I'm not feeling like shoveling it. So what's up with all this virtue signaling? All of this craziness that's going on up in this Facebook group. Isn't it interesting how a lot of the shit that you hear or see that comes out of it always suggests that they're so centric to whatever is going on in this particular case? That's the first mistake. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anybody can say whatever they want about this situation, have an opinion, and, like it or not, that's a good thing. Whether you believe wholeheartedly what Janie and Daniel have to say, even though it's completely bunk and nonsense, well, who's to say any different? Who gives a shit? Change the channel. Go somewhere else. Yeah, it's a real shame that people don't see and understand the red flags, etc. Don't waste your time engaging because it's just a huge frustration. People come around. People talk about the dumbest shit. But it's all about people misinforming and misleading people in the background. That's the whole concept behind cybercrime, essentially. That initial fool, that catfish, if you will. And it's no different in this particular, especially, I should say, in the true crime genre. You know what your intentions are. You stick to them. It shows. There's nothing wrong with talking about things in any such manner. Doesn't make everybody right. Doesn't make everybody wrong. Something happened to Jack and Lily. There's a truth to this situation. And of course, that would make a right and wrong. just by that alone. However, people always want to confuse and mistake what it is that they think that they're participating in or doing. Most of the shit is just to wind a group of individuals up. As in, you read something and there's no possible way a person who, whatever it says, can be that effing stupid in that moment. They're just trying to get a charge, right? Thank you very much, Joyous. When it gets out of control in these circumstances, that's atypical. And they want to misrepresent all of the propaganda in what we know as mainstream media against what goes on in social media and all the harm that it can bring in a case. This is just nonsense and propaganda. These situations need conversation. Now, it's a shame most of the conversation turns out to be, in hindsight, misinformation, but the thing is that you don't know because there's a certain element of not knowing, and people are always trying to figure out what the thing is that the individuals are hiding, we'll say. Joyce, you're very generous, darling. Thank you so, so much. I don't have to preach to you all about that. I just want to remind you all about it. Because even though Drunk Turkey seems like a huge effing moron, it just speaks more to the sense that he's not as attached to the situation or the children as any of you are. And when you're behind a microphone, whether it's promoting for a particular brand, there's always a sense of bullshit, propaganda behind it. Just change the channel and don't get too attached in these situations, especially that it's on social media, or we'll call it YouTube, what I'm talking about. Nobody is ever doing anything wrong. Unless it's those individuals who are making these mock-up Belinda conversations. When I saw that, I'm like, all right, here we go. Apparently there's this, we'll look at it, but I saw it on Ninchi's True Crime. There's this conversation, a snippet from what looks like a Facebook Messenger conversation, what the individual is trying to get you to assume is Belinda Gray, because they even mention the name Belinda in it, okay? And it's speaking that they don't want this particular Chrissy involved in any more of this particular case. It doesn't sound like Belinda. It doesn't even sound like somebody who's capable of carrying on much of a conversation in the English language. So you must have to think it's Derwood and his gang. Now, this group of funky players, man. Why is it that they're so keen on engaging and promoting all of this nonsense and disinformation on behalf of their buddy Daniel and / Janie? We know the reason why. That's what is fascinating to me. Just how shameless these individuals are. They must, and there's nothing wrong with thinking that, even though they get tremendously upset about it. You can't think, that's not fair. You can't. Listen, assholes, you guys are so engaged in all of this, you're not practicing what you preach. You guys are on top of the investigation. You guys are fielding tips, encouraging people to call them in after they talk to the RCMP so you guys can figure things out on your own, how to fix this. Whatever this, there's this thing again. Whatever this is. What's going on, Mayflower? When someone makes up false conversation as Belinda and Daleen, that is wrong. It isn't Belinda or Daleen. It's a group of numbnuts. Exactly. It's none of the above. But it's all playing out on this particular Facebook group. And the individuals that get involved and they compete because they, I guess, what is it to get ahead on there? Like YouTube, you at least have AdSense money, right? Right? Facebook, it's really shameless clout. It's just disgusting. And of course, they want to shit talk everybody else, and they want to talk about social media as though it's any place else but where they're speaking and posting. Oh shit! Listen, the whole point of talking about everything, we don't know what is and isn't misinformation. Most of the stuff that you speculate and think of, we're not tied to in the first place, but we've got to speak about it because we have no other choice due to the statements in the language by way of the suspects. That's what they fail to neglect to mention in these articles. They just want to, you can get a good sense of who's really conditioned and programmed to just parrot and recite what's in these articles. Oh, didn't we just go through these lockdowns? Didn't you learn anything? A lot of minds are very malleable in that sense. And that's frustrating. Not that you want to, I don't even like to bring it up because then you fall into this, oh, well, you just think that you're so much smarter than everybody else. No, there's really people out there who do dumb things, we'll say, at any one point in time. Now, is that what Kent is? Fuck no. Kent's association to this is way deeper. He's got ties to this. And who was in my comment section earlier talking about how this Chance Lays is in this band too? Oh, they're just all in a band. It's just like the antithesis of the Osmonds. The tweaked out Osmonds. The Osmond kids. We have assumed control. What's up, Silver? Good to see you. You Void. I just like talking about what everybody's looking at or what everybody's talking about. Ninchi got me the other day. She got me in this I may as well just pull it up. Let me just give me a second here. Oh, here I go plagiarizing Ninchi's shit again. No, this is me talking about your shit, Ninchi. So let's get that straight. Listen. Oh, see, I don't. Maybe I'll. Oh, look at how fantastic of a. What would you call this? Oh, look at the clip art here. Oh, it's just so. Oh, isn't that just handsome? So this is this particular fabricated message. I can't take the issues with this Chrissy anymore. Now, who is? First of all, I don't even know who these individuals are. I got to be reminded. Chrissy, this. So there's Christine Inrig. Who is that? Is that the Christine that comes in my chat? Is that Christine Inrig? I guess you don't have to dox yourself, but people out there already know all of this. Chrissy Travers is different than Christine Inrig. And I think she's associated and works in the background with Daleen. Where I'm going with all of this, I'm not even trying to bring anybody down, but it's fucking hilarious to me that people are posting all of these cease and desists on one another. Which, when I throw cease and desists around, and I've been known to do it in the background, I get AI to generate it up in a clever way, and I send it through email and get the other person to make videos about it. But it's usually just tongue-in-cheek in that sense. This one's getting posted. These are getting posted all over this Facebook group, I'm assuming, as though it's really, really something. It's people all fucking pissed off at one another. And there's a little person up there, which is probably Derwood's group, just doing the easiest things to sabotage everybody's little relationship and their get-along gang, which is another level of fun on its own sometimes. I don't exactly know who they are or if they're even legit. The fact that, like, what's legit, I guess, in all of this? Like, there is no official club or army for Jack and Lily in that sense. So there's right and wrong as far as I'm concerned. And the more people that discuss it in a rational way, the better. Now, it comes down to the people who fight seem to be the ones who are the ones that need the talk in the first place about don't believe everything that you hear on here. But of course, these individuals want to go and have some place to spout out their most ignorant fucking beliefs in this circumstance because they can't conceive of anything else because they don't have all of the information, rather than understand or converse about any of the things that they don't know. It's like it happens to everybody because you're analyzing what it is that you do know, and you want to turn around and produce it into something that you want to bring it closer to some sort of conclusion in your mind as to what had happened, what that means. And a lot of people aren't that good at that, maybe necessarily, and it comes out wrong. It doesn't matter. Like, even a lot of the other people who are into statement analysis do this as well. Like, even Mike does it. Like, for example, and Mike's not wrong about the things that he states, but you don't have to go and take it to a conclusion. You can just leave it at the statement and the deception that's detected without drawing conclusions. Mike wants to take it because of he wants, for example, he wants to say that he thinks that they were disposed of in the ocean in that sense. And he has all the reasons as to why. I don't even need to do that. I don't need to agree with them or disagree with them. Mind you, at my place, I need some more evidence to say that, not just, based solely off of the statements, no matter how confident a person is in it. And that's not how it goes in court either. But I love it that he's that confident about it. I love it that people go and do that. And you can do that in this particular circumstance. Until I have more answers in my mind about this whole Thursday night into Friday morning, and Justin Smith and Bradley Wong. I was going to call him boss man, but Bradley Wong, I'm saying. There's so much follow-up questions that I'm hung up on that the police would have had to have asked them. I want to know all of that, but I don't want to know it through secondhand knowledge. Like listen, I want to know when you say all of this was in earshot, what does that mean when Bradley Wong says that to me? Because if he heard the car within earshot through the hours of midnight to 4 a.m. for the sake of this conversation, that would limit my thoughts about the possibilities of how far out either, that's assuming they disposed, maybe they're hiding the bodies and still hiding the bodies at this point in time. And guess what? We can talk about that and speculate all we want. Just like the cops do. Just like the big boys do. What was all the driving around? Love to figure that out with the RCMP in that sense. It's not like they don't know and don't have a good idea. I want to know what it is that they know. We can only speculate as to what it is that they know based upon what's publicly available to us at this point in time. So we can get close. Mayflower, Christine Inrig, Inring, I think it is, Inring, not Ingrid, is the person who she said was a private investigator and real estate agent. She was a receptionist there and got fired. Oh, shit. Oh, that makes me laugh. That's so funny. Is that true? Why did she get fired? Because you guys spammed? She was trying to do a live stream from the receptionist desk? Well, you can't be both? That's funny shit. So I wonder who came up with this. Maybe you guys at home can give me some ideas. I've told Daleen that I don't want Chrissy involved anymore. I told Chrissy she has to stop working for me. End the case. Like there's a whole fucking real investigation going on behind. Again, Belinda's getting gaslit by so many fucking simps and people who don't have her best interest in heart. I wish she would just stay away from social media sometimes. Most times. Like, I was embarrassed. If what it is that Ninchi was talking about is true, I just gave her the benefit of the doubt because I didn't really pay attention. But I'm embarrassed for them. You know, I just take it Daleen is a lawyer. She's helping out Belinda. That's as far as it should go. She's helping out Belinda in navigating the legal system in order to become part of the loop after being, after there already being a court decision. Like, it's complicated. Good for her, but it doesn't automatically mean that, Belinda is the only person doing any sort of thinking about the case, or she's some sort of beacon to I shouldn't say beacon, that she's an individual to base any of what it is the individual saying in the time off of. They're just using her. Not Daleen, but whoever is involved in this little sphere of influence. So hold on here. I got distracted there. I apologize. So pull it back. So that made me fucking laugh. It got me to thinking about who is it back there that's putting these together. It's really easy to put this together and fake it and then put it out as something. And that was, in my opinion, clearly the intent. So who's doing that? Little something for you all to think about, I wonder. We'll keep that in mind. So these things like this, Crystal, name unknown. This is from Ninchi's True Crime, by the way. This is yesterday. Here, I'll share the link for those of you guys watching in the future. I better press pause. This is Nietzsche's right here. Hold on. So descriptive.
Bit of woman sitting in the corner.
Whoops, hold on. I don't want to play it. I want to see it. So it starts. So this right here. Christine Inrig. 56 minutes. Important announcement, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Please be advised that this was confirmed yesterday. Given the gravity of the situation, it's imperative that we get this announcement out to the public as soon as possible to try to prevent further damage. So who is this, all of this we and shit that she's using? Who's amazing? Oh, you talking Ninchi's amazing? Oh yeah, you guys can simp Ninchi all you want. But this shit makes me laugh. Like, this is someone who takes what it is that they're doing, just so very important. But it's only important to the particular Facebook group that's created. Oh my God, it's just so, it's too much. Now, like, I don't want to discourage the share because it's no different really than how some Discord servers can get. But we're talking about this one in particular. This one is a really, really interesting place, because what you have is whoever's in charge of it really, I don't want to comment on it. I'm not sure who that is, but is being monitored by the suspects nonstop. So there's a real battle for the narrative, it seems, over time. And to go up there for any amount of time and read somebody who really is believing what a bunch of child unalivers in that sense are trying to have you believe is just insulting to people's intelligence. Can you imagine? 2 kids just disappeared. You say, really, what they're saying in a nutshell is they disappeared within about 30 or 40 minutes of police arriving. That's what they're hinting at without linguistically committing to it. That's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem, guys. You're saying that they're just here now. They're nowhere to be found. And the bullshit story that they've come up with is so out of whack. It's inconsistent. Nobody believes it, not even the RCMP. Amy, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Excuse me. Good to see you. My vibration is lowered listening to your vibrations. Brian Wilson. Some good vibrations. My vibration is lowered by listening to her. Everything is an argument, just like with Michelle After Dark. I won't listen to her anymore either. Yeah, there's a big hate train. I don't even listen to her in the first place. I don't mind if you guys do. Like, who gives a shit? It says a lot, though, when the creator doesn't mind to share with you what it is that they think based off of the facts at hand. You can truly see who cares about the situation and who doesn't so much. But people who want to throw shade at people who create and talk about it, especially on YouTube, are contradictory. They're jealous. It's not even a sound argument, okay? Because you're not actually making any money, and you're certainly not making enough money, and you're not making any money off of Jack and Lily. Just because Jack and Lily Sullivan are the topic, well, it's you who's contradicting yourself, because you get mad that the advertisements that you need in that moment actually cost money and aren't free. Like, it just, the rules don't change. Anyway, now, if you've been around the true crime community, you know the power and the reasons that people come out with propaganda or disinformation. That's when the real annoying people come out of the woodwork. All of the people who believe anything that you tell them. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's what you can't handle. But, people can talk about whatever they want in whatever way that they want. You don't ever want that to change. Even though it's annoying as fuck, you still need people in that sense like that. And it gives you something to complain about. There's positives. You can make money of complaining about them. But often it seems to people like it's some sort of gain. And if they can gain favor within some of these subcultures or communities, then it's a different thing. More like people, what they do is hang out in whoever's chat is getting the most donations. And then they'll target certain people within that chat who like to give all kinds of donations, and then they'll target these individuals with a certain type of misinformation, and it's a lot easier to get money out of them in the end. That happens all of the time, and you've really got to be watching for that. Like, I mean, give money to whoever you want to, but listen, that's a different thing. Let me finish one. I don't want to get all over the place. So Christine Inrig is this fake real estate agent. You mean the receptionist at the real estate used to be the receptionist at Remax, you're saying? Nothing wrong with that. But there's more to it? Isn't she like associated with Dan? Or associated with them, or people are associating her? I don't know. I don't know what it is or why people are upset at her. I'm trying to figure that out. Let me read this. Chrissy Travers and Angela Henderson have been permanently removed from all involvement in this missing persons case. That's a strong statement. I didn't even know that they were, they were bestowed such an honor to be removed. How could you remove that from somebody? That's really giving herself or that other person a lot of power. Thank you, Chair. Like, is this real? Come on. Or is she just meaning in this group that she loves to pretend is really happening? It's so important. Chrissy Travers and Angela Henderson have been permanently removed from all involvement in this missing persons case. They do not represent Belinda Gray, any family members, or the fine Jack and Lily community, and they hold no authority to speak, act. There's a key word: fundraise. This is what this is all about. Fundraise was added to all of this just naturally in there because, right, that's what you have to do in these circumstances. Oh, fuck. I'm getting an itch to design me some fucking bracelets, Kent. Anybody want a keychain, window sticker? Yeah, spreading some awareness for $7.99, baby. Fucking douche. And they hold no authority to speak. To speak! You have no authority to speak. I am the king. Something tells me that she wrote this when she was wound up. You're going overboard. Like, come on. This is really... Are you that important? Like, is it that important of a fucking thing? Like, if somebody's doing something, it's a lot better just to out with it. Like, hey, look at this person is here doing this. Highlight it, circle something, point to it, and post it. Couldn't be any easier. Listen, this is a fucking important announcement here. Oh shit! I mean, this is something that you would troll somebody with, right? Wouldn't you troll the shit out of somebody? Wouldn't you troll the shit out of somebody with this? Like, only a person who is probably suffering from some sort of turmoil internally, a narcissist, would get upset over such a thing. I cannot speak. You can't speak or act in here. I've seen what you've done, and I'm withdrawing your rights. I'm making a citizen's arrest. Why don't you make a citizen's arrest? Why does it have to be all of this virtue signaling in amongst people in a certain group? You have to be trolling people. But I don't think she is. Oh, shit. Anyway, let's fucking read this thing. This is a post from Christine Inrig.
And now
I'm not sure I think it's serious. You can't talk about this case anymore. Why don't you, Christine Inrig, why don't you go tell Derwood about that? Go tell Derwood and everybody. Tell Daniel to shut his fucking mouth. Let's see.
I see her.
Their removal followed serious concerns regarding conduct and failure to respect required standards and boundaries. Standards and boundaries. Boundaries. That first date didn't go well. Which came under the direct supervision of lawyer. Let's see some proof if you're going to go around. Daleen Thomas. Let's see all of her credentials posted right beside it. You better be careful. The impact of their actions caused harm, distraction, and disruption, pulling focus away from what truly matters. Finding Jack and Lily. So that's what all this is about. A fucking virtue signal. This is virtue signaling. Come on. And you're using Daleen's. I just give her the benefit of the doubt. She walks around in people's chats claiming to be a lawyer. That's fine. It shouldn't be much of a determining factor for anything. It was just relevant because Belinda introduced her in that sense. That's where it stops and ends. So how does that cross over anywhere else? I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's not the type of lawyer that she wants representing her in that sense. Like, there's different types of lawyers. Do you know what I mean? She was probably a slip and fall out of work fucking lawyer. An ambulance chaser, maybe, is what they say. Business is slow. That's why she's spending so much time around Belinda, not getting paid for things. That's not the type of lawyer that I want on my side. So, my point is that it doesn't fucking impress me much in that sense. Big fucking deal, she's a lawyer. It's only important when you bring it up in front of a group of people. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's not Daleen doing it. It's somebody else either using it or, could be, who knows? Who knows? I'd not even want to take away from what Daleen's doing and Belinda are doing. They're being pulled into this. You can't say that you don't have the right, but who the fuck is this Chrissy Inrig to turn around and start enforcing all of these moral and ethical, what is she? That's funny, though. Chrissy Travers, you do not represent Belinda Gray. Only I do. Like, what is this really saying? You go dry your hands off, hon. What is this really telling the world? This is like more of an action that you pull, and in the background you're talking to Belinda, you're telling her all kinds of fucking nonsense that shows how much you're protecting her and all of the work that you're doing, and it justifies you being around and being engaged with her. Yeah. She's one of those types. People are fucking weird, dude. But there's more to this. For absolute clarity, no representation, no authorization. It's just like you can't come past this door. No, you were not authorized. No family contact. No involvement of any kind. That's what this seems to be. It's like, oh, why don't you put that on a t-shirt? No, you go grab your tablet, hon. Any statements, posts, messages, or activity from unauthorized individuals, ooh, how authoritarian of them, or associated parties should be disregarded. Oh, fuck, you're a robot. This is like RoboCop. RoboCop. At this time, the Find Jack and Lily community is working with the families to regroup and refocus all efforts on Jack and Lily. What? Yeah, does that scream gatekeeper, Miss K? Can you fucking believe that? Who is speaking on their behalf? And like, last time I checked, there isn't a community, like an organization like the Optimist Group here. Like, the entitlement is disgusting, isn't it? It just reeks of entitlement. They're like the Nazis. They just float on propaganda up there on their posts in this Facebook messaging group. And you're working with the families involved? Well, you're working directly with the fucking suspects, assholes. People are so eager to get involved and contribute based off of the false narrative that Daniel, Janie, and Malaya have come out with. That's what's wrong. You're putting the cart before the horse. Because you wouldn't be fucking doing any of that if you knew the truth. Oh, not you again says, it appears Christine is trying to silence two humans she dislikes for a behavior she can't specify. That's true too. Good one. I like the way you think there. That's true. That's a funny post. But whatever, man. So if you wake up one day and you've got Christine Inrig coming all up into your business for whatever fucking reason, all of it's going to be self-serving. Oh, geez, I bet you she felt real fucking important after she pressed send. You'll think twice before you go up there and post anything that isn't mindless drivel or some sort of glazing for the people who you want to look important for. Fucking idiots. So what does it go on to say? Let's see. So is this Christine Inrig's message? Oh, this Chelsea message. Yeah, so Chelsea commented, so I guess it's worth mentioning. I should mention this. Chelsea Gray says, who wrote these messages? It wasn't my mother. I have my suspicions, though. Why would anyone in their right mind want to do something like this in a missing child's case? I think, I don't want to speak for them, Chelsea, but it has more to do with the craziness of what goes on, the virtue signaling that goes on specifically for these groups. That way, only Belinda can see how much a specific person is doing on her behalf. They're competing for a person's attention. Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting. It makes you want to gag yourself with a spoon. Hi, Bev JCB. Welcome in. Oh, fuck. It gets crazy like this. But this isn't so crazy. I'm not... Listen, I know and I can see what's being done to Belinda. She's too far gone. She got to deal with herself. Chelsea has got a handle on things. You've got to trust them to a certain degree. She's got so many people coming at her, simping and glazing. Fuck, it's like being Michael Jordan for a day, and it's unavoidable. And I just hope that she doesn't become too kind in order just to get people what they want, that beg for her attention. Do you know what I mean? That cycle. Anyway, none of my business. Just still talk about it, though. She didn't like to come in here anymore. Probably because we tell it too much like it is. Well, that's the sacrifice you make. Yeah, Christine's got the longest way to tell somebody to STFU I've ever heard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but listen, it is a funny like move to go into these groups and try to get them all worked up. That is funny. It doesn't matter because you usually get a bunch of self-important, you know, people just going like crazy. It's a lot better if they've got like channels and you can really get them worked up. There has to be an end, not just to do it for no reason, of course, but you can see the temptation. Captain Justice, good to see you. Kent Derwood sitting in a tree, Robin. Kent fell off, and then there were 3. Oh, Jesus. That sounds like Dice Man. That's Andrew Dice Clay. Just think of Kent's elbow deep in his nose on a live, and you won't need a spoon. Oh, God. Come on. That's just not nice. Shanann. Shanann. Let's see. So who wrote this? Who wrote these messages? It wasn't my mother. I have my suspicions, though, says Chelsea. Why would anyone in their right mind want to do something like this in a missing child's case? What kind of people try to sway the investigation from the first month? From the first month it starts. Not good people trying to help, that I'm sure of. That's a very important statement. What kind of people try to sway an investigation from the first month it starts? I'm so happy that Chelsea said that, because that's what's important. And it all comes by way of Janie and Daniel. Why did they blame Malaya? What were the specific duties that Daniel and Janie refer to when they speak about Malaya not fulfilling as a mother? If that's sticking out in their minds, I wonder why exactly. Malaya alluded to Daniel, like the kid, Daniel talking to them, doing the disciplining in that sense, as though these kids had to be disciplined. What would you need to be disciplined over? So bedtime would probably have been a big one. There's a running resentment towards Jack. Good day, Kelvin. Derwood, Kent, and others in the background have been the kind of people to sway an investigation from the first month it started, thereabouts. And yeah, I said you can't. You want to align yourself with the suspects at this point in time? It's not like the suspects are just suspects by proxy. They were unable to clear their names because of the level of deception. They couldn't come forward and rule out Janie, Malaya, or Daniel because there is no information, and they are uncooperative, and they don't want to fill in the timeline. That would suggest that they know exactly what happened to the kids. Therefore, why the fuck are you guys so engaged in trying to simp and glaze at every turn in all of this? It's just to compete for the attention in the favor of Janie and Daniel, so you yourself can get those clicks and views the easiest way, no matter what happens. People are smarter than that. And these are children. If we were in Jack or Lily's position, think about the type of YouTube channel that you would want blasting whoever you thought was responsible all over the fucking world in effort to bring some sort of justice your way. If you're lost at sea, a communication to shore is fairly important in order to tell rescuers where the hell to find you when you're going down. There's a major fucking problem here. It has nothing to do with the RCMP or Child Protective Services. It has everything to do with the individuals that were left and supposed to be caring for Jack and Lily. All three of them. Maybe four. Definitely two. You asked for it. You asked for it.
For 2 months until Thursday when I gave my interview. The reason why I've been doing this is the investigators advised me not to speak to anybody because of their investigation. But it's been over 2 months now. I find the investigators are not telling us anything. They put only one report out since all this happened. They are not giving us any updates. I'm tired. I can't deal with this because they are keeping stuff to themselves, which the public should know. We should know what is happening. I don't believe Malaya took that picture. I believe it was a drone. The same drone that took the picture of the property. I wasn't around when it happened, but I'm believing it was a drone that took the picture of Daniel and Justin on the ATV. There is something else I have to clear up about the ATV. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so. Because my neighbor, which I'm not going to mention, is known for stealing property.
Uh-oh.
And that was one thing that I did not want him to take.
So here Janie is referring to Bradley Wong. See, this is her alluding to the fact that she thinks, and she wants you to think, that Bradley Wong is somehow associated with her claims of having her property broken into. Listen, there ain't nothing on that property that people want. Nobody's breaking into your place and stealing anything there, Janie. You live in the RV. People, if you're not aware, people want to think a little too far outside the box sometimes. It says right here in the initial paperwork how she represented her living situation. Janie McKenzie lives in the camper on the same property as the residents. So, for the record, we don't need to think that they were lying about that. It's funny enough in that sense. She was living in the goddamn RV. She lived in the RV. Is she still living in there? I don't know. But the fact is, here she wants us to believe that Bradley Wong, her neighbor, before actually this soundbite was coming in, she would never tell anybody, or nobody ever talked about the relevance of her neighbor. She just wanted to loosely refer and introduce people to what was slowly coming down the line, which was their reports identifying Daniel in his vehicle driving around and back and forth throughout that night, May 1st into May 2nd. Eyewitness. Eyewitness, DT, drunk turkey. That's an eyewitness.
And I also want to mention too, someone, I can't tell you who, has broken in, when Daniel and I were away, has broken in to our trailer and have taken a few things.
Wow. Somebody has broken in here and taken a few things. She's not interested in telling you the specifics about it. I don't believe it, Janie. I don't believe it at all. You're full of shit. That story is cockamamie, not representing it. You would have, if you were the victim of crime in that sense, and it was your neighbor, you would have no problem straight up telling everybody that your neighbor came in and stole your fucking brand new tires out of the back for your RV. Not alluded to this individual, and you're explaining the reasons for whatever behavior you had at the time in order to circumvent any sort of possible future ill thoughts from a particular neighbor. It makes no fucking sense, Janie. This is you looking to disparage poor Bradley Wong, and there's nothing that you can say or do that's going to do that. It doesn't matter how loud you yell. You're not going to change the fact of him identifying Daniel and his vehicles driving within earshot several times back and forth between the hours of midnight and 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Oh! That blows the fucking story wide open. That's just another shot across the bow. Your story is fucking bullshit, guys. There's 2 missing children from your property, and all of your stories of the moments and minutes leading up to whatever happened to make you call 911 is fucking bullshit.
I'm not going to say what they are, but have taken a few things.
Oh yes, I don't want to say what those things are. Probably her dirty fucking underwear. What, is Bradley a pervert and he was horny for your bloomers? You had some dirty bloomers collections going on up there. He stole a few of my unmentionables. Retard. Derwood, get the fuck out of here, and you and your little fucking buddies, your buddy Kent, get the fuck out of my chat. You're not welcome here. Insta-ban. You stick out like a sore thumb. You're not very good at this.
And this has all been reported to the investigators. And yes, we still have drones that fly over that are over our place. It's usually Friday and Saturday nights, mostly. So if the people out there that are flying the drones, if you like to watch a 60-year-old woman on a Friday and Saturday night and have nothing better to do, you go ahead.
So you wouldn't think that the drones would be out there for any other reason but to stare at you, Janie? Why would that be? Heightened sense of paranoia for what reason? Makes no sense there, Nutty.
And I'd like to say something else. And for all the people that are driving by, taking pictures of my property and taking pictures to see that what we're doing in the yard, I'm going to let you guys know I am scared of being in my own place because I stick mostly to my RV and my back.
Are you fucking serious? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, no.
Yard, because I never know that when
Baby
somebody's
talk.
going to blame us for what's going on, or blame me, I should say, I am scared to death that somebody's going to come along and do something to me while I'm in my yard. That's how.
Fuck, we could only hope. Michelle, thank you so much. That's so generous of you. $10 super sticker. Mwah. I appreciate that. Please, anybody out there, don't do anything to Janie while she's out in her yard. You guys should be embarrassed. You guys should feel bad for even thinking bad thoughts about Janie and everybody there. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine? Janie, it's not going to work. You could have remained silent, said nothing, said minimal, but you chose to go so far into this. You're really confident that you're going to get away with all of this, that you're not going to have or be held accountable in what happened to Jack and Lily. Well, you're definitely in it too deep now, Mrs. Obstruction of Justice. Accessory after the fact of whatever incident there was, plus the conspiracy. Just nobody is ever going to let you out of that prison. And that's why you're lying. That's why you're taking this Hail Mary attempt and deceiving the public about what really happened to Jack and Lily and what happened and why it really was that you were raking that driveway. You don't even have to be honest. We don't expect you to tell the truth, Janie. We could tell by what it is that you say regardless, because there's really only one thing that possibly could have happened. There's only one thing to lie about, isn't there? You guys have all of the reasons, all of the reasons are pointed back directly on Jack and Lily as though it was their fault for walking out that door and never to be seen again, rather than any sort of emotion or heartbreak come out of that home. You know how tragic this situation would have been if it had been an accident with nobody in the home being culpable? They'd be acting completely different than what it is that we talk about on the daily. That's the truth. There's nothing about their stories that ring true. It's almost an invitation to the RCMP to say, you're going to have to do this the hard way. You're going to have to figure this out for yourselves without any help from us. And that's what they're doing. Not you again says she's living at a crime scene of an unsolved crime. What does she expect? Would she ignore a crime like that if it was her neighbor? If it was her grandkids still live there? This is a violent crime against children, and they're going above and beyond and trying to not only get away with it in the law's eyes, but actively lie to everybody who's concerned about Jack and Lily and make money off of it. As though they were victimized by what? None of them ever want to really linguistically commit to anything. That's a real problem. Whatever happened to Jack and Lily happened within that home. There's the little kitty. Does Canada stream trials, Julia? No, but they stand outside them. And they have people inside them and they report on them. But they might. Actually, things have probably changed. I can't answer that completely. It's not like it is in the States. But the same, you can report on them in the exact same manner. Usually have a place for reporters in there. Janie's not here to lie to you people. Think about what it is that she came and said on this particular interview. She said nothing about Jack and Lily or any of the normal things or anything that would point to her not being any more of a suspect or suspicious, or that would rule her out or paint her like she's a victim. None of it. She just talks about where she walked. It doesn't matter if she was active in a, if she was guilty of anything or did anything. Who knows? The way she describes it, it's ambiguous. But she doesn't ever want to tell you why it's important to any of all of this. And she doesn't want to even say what this is. This is a huge fail, Janie. This is a huge fail. This is a desperate cry out to the world that you don't want to be perceived as being responsible for anything that happened to Jack and Lily. Well, that's fucking impossible at this point. How could you not have felt responsible? Well, she did. Her little crying session, that's not why she was crying that particular day. It was genuine emotion. And even in her meager explanation as to why it was that she was crying like that, like it's actually a thing and not just a reason to manipulate your mind even further, she refers to something so vague in the reason that you can't make sense of it. She's really distancing herself in this scenario. Yeah, I think there is, Brian, there is a little gate or a makeshift gate. It's not much of a fence. It's a tweaker's fence. This is a tweaker project. This is just rearranging the garbage that you've thrown out on your fucking lawn. Let's get back to why it is, Janie, that you're living in that RV in the first place. Anita Bonita says, they're heartless because I have never met Jack and Lily and I tear up looking at their pictures, knowing what happened to them. Beautiful babies. What happened to them and what they're continuing to do, like as though they're nothing. As though they're non-humans. It's indignant. Annie, probably because she realized her grandchildren wouldn't be coming over again. Oh yeah, I agree with you there. Not you again. Hummingbird feeder. Yeah, there's a hummingbird feeder, but it wasn't full of any of the nectar, the sugar water that you fill. The red Kool-Aid. This here. There was not a gate on the fence at the time the kiddos went, Annie. Possibly. I can't remember. I have a picture in the back of it. Not that it would make much difference, because the fence wasn't finished. Who gives a shit about the gate when the fence wasn't even finished? I think that's the point people are trying to make. Like the way that Janie was explaining it in this, she goes on to say, now if the kids had gone through the gate, or she introduces the gate, but at the time of the reported disappearance, or the story that they want to portray, this piece of this piece of fence to the left of your screen that extends beyond the screen back towards the trailer wasn't finished. It was wide open. Therefore, there's no point in talking about the gate on a fence that isn't really a fence. Though there's no fucking finished fence for there to be a useful gate there. You wouldn't be using it in the first place. You would be going around it. Yeah, Captain Justice. He was talking on douchebags like the gate was there. Well, listen, the gate wasn't finished. That the gate or the fence, not the gate, but the fence wasn't even finished. The fence wasn't finished, so what's the point of even talking about the gate being used? That's a great point, actually, guys, you brought up. Daniel, you're such a fucking moron, dude. What a moron. Let me see if I can find a picture of this. It'll be from the first weekend of the drones, probably. Let's see. You are the dumbest motherfucker around. Let's see. Oh, fuck. It wasn't even finished right there. There's a big gaping hole right there, dude. So there's two ways you can see this. Let me pull this up for you. Now you can see the shadow. It's kind of tricky of an angle, though. Let me see. Let me flip this over. We'll search together. It doesn't look like an attached fence to me there, Sunshine. What if the kids were to walk through a gate? That's when Janie loves to spin that into the form of a question without actually saying anything. You're not communicating any sort of a point. That was fantastic. That one shows a big gape there. And down closer, back behind this stack of lumber to the left of the fence, it's not fenced. It's not lined with any sort of vertical board in that sense. It's wide open, gaping open. So really, whoops. It's funny that the story isn't, nobody's brought up the possibility about somebody just walking in the back of the door and grabbing the kids and taking off with them. Why is it that you've got to put the blame back onto the kids as though they walked out and ran off, never to be seen again? The moral of all of this is that they have no answer. They have no answer for it, or else they would be stated publicly already. Therefore, we can fill that blank in for them realistically. And it's not going to be very nice. Yeah, high five, Brian. You deserve an award down in there. Good eye on that, by the way. There's so much to this case that you can't remember it all and all of the contradictions at one time. You've got to pick, have a handful that's your go-to and then go from there. Eventually they'll all fit themselves inside your head, but there's contradictions at every step and every turn here. Because you're being lied to about the entire thing. Everything that you've come to learn about the case has been by the statements from the individuals who are responsible for whatever happened to Jack and Lily, sadly, at this point in time. So we also have to build this and what really happened with the things that we know in a similar manner to the RCMP. See if I can find a better shot. Whoop. Hold on there. Let's go it this way. Let me see here. Let's have a look here. What is this from? Oh, there's a good shot of it right down there. Hey, you fucking idiot. Hey, Daniel, you fuck nut. Take a look at this. Talking about the kids going through the fence. Janie, you're an idiot. Does that look like there's a gate or a finished fence to you? Hell to the nah. Brian, everybody thank Brian. Thank you for pointing this out to us, my friend.
How scared I am. Now.
Yeah, how scared she is of being caught. See, to her, these are partial truths. Janie's terrified of being caught. And of course, she's got to find the first person to lash out on, just like she did with Jack and Lily. Jack, Lily, and Malaya were the first person that she lashed out on when she was having a bad day, which is pretty much every day. If you're living in that piece of shit of a leaky roof RV in your fucking own driveway, while your tweaker son lies to you, and when the hell they're going to move out. Sweet Tea says she will lie for him always. She would hide a body and say, let's get our stories straight. What a POS. Yeah, and she's admitted to that, Sweet Tea, in this long conversation that we have.
All these here interviews that Daniel have done, I am scared for him too. I'm scared it will turn out to be like a porta pack. That's what I'm...
Oh yeah, don't worry there, Janie. Daniel's gonna get his, baby.
Scared of. I told the investigators this, and...
So does that mean that they're gonna put a rush on clearing your names? Looks like that's not working itself out. Looks like the RCMP haven't been able to clear your names, Janie. Captain Justice, good to see you. You'd like to know where the missing tarp is off the other side of that shanty, the tarpaulin? No doubt, maybe it was needed to wrap up a package at the last minute. Good eye.
They more or less can't do anything about it because they're on public property, If they step foot on my property, then there's something I can do.
So really she's telling us she's sensitive about all of the attention that she's getting in the middle of nowhere. She can hear you coming from miles away just to slow down in front of her nasty ass trailer and take pictures because she's super paranoid. She's looking out to see if the goddamn SWAT team's coming to fucking arrest them at any point in time. Any of the questions that you ask them, it always comes back to them and their innocence in whatever it is that has happened that we haven't found out yet. That's a major problem. That's a real indicator of guilt.
Yes, I believe the kids are alive. And the reason why I believe the kids are...
The reason that you want to say that you think the kids are still alive is because you don't want to further the conversation about all of the possibilities and the reasons why you don't think that they're alive. That's all. You're a fool, an idiot, and we can all see it. There's no rational explanation as to why you think the kids are still alive. And it's a demonstration of your poor parenting and poor logic skills when your kids you want us to believe that your kids just disappeared, walked out, never to be found again, and you think that they're magically still alive out there. Well, how did they survive? Did you lend them your fucking credit card? They got their cell phone, they got their car, they got a change of clothes. How about an income? I don't think so because they're 4 and 6. No. A rational person, a logical person an innocent person in this would be saying, what now? No, I sadly don't believe that they're alive, unfortunately. But there's no possible way that you guys want to entertain that because it would further the in questions in the way that is going to eventually expose your punk asses. Thanks for showing us the door. Good to see crime science stories.
Alive is because my heart is telling me they are alive. If they are deceased, I would have just like every
guys for Janie's heart here. What is your heart saying? people in chat, have a good look inward and tell me what your heart is saying about this circumstance.
Everybody else.
What does that mean? It means absolutely fucking nothing, okay? It's intangible. She's chosen to divert away from answering the question directly in this sense, rather than touching a real genuine emotion, if there was any to be had in that old rusty can of hers. There's no possible way any of the investigators believe her worth a shit. Now, they'll tell her, of course, cops love to tell you, love to be positive, to keep you talking.
You'd have this feeling in your heart that you can't explain. And your gut feeling. But
feeling in your gut, feeling in your heart that you just can't explain. Your heart, what is this, Valentine's Day? Is this the type of shit that you and Derwood talk about? Talking about what your heart's saying, how you feel about one another when you want him to cook you some fucking hamburger helpy ravioli on your one-man stove in that fucking shitty RV on a Friday night? We can fucking massage the corns off your nasty old stink foot. Is that what's going on with you two? I'm disgusted.
no, I
Oh,
definitely...
Derwood, my heart's telling me that you should rub that nasty corn on my foot for another 5 minutes. That feels so damn good.
believe the kids are not deceased.
It's so clear that they know sweet tea. You've resorted to what your heart thinks. Well, she's a real fucking survivalist. Our plane crashed in the middle of the fucking Andes. There's 7 of us, and one of them just happens to be Janie that's alive. And her heart's feeling that if we just wait a little bit longer, that we'll be rescued at any time. The fuck out the way. She'd be the first person I'd be eating. That's some survivalist shit. I'd eat her foot. I wouldn't have to kill her. I'd just lob off her foot and eat it right in front of her. Like this was a goddamn Russian gulag. I'll be having the Janie hand for New Year's Eve dinner. Been making me some soup.
They are alive. Where they are, I cannot tell you. As I said before, if I knew where the kids were, I would go and get them. I would not...
See, hear that little statement right there is... That's how you know that they all collab in the background all of the time. Even you, Jordan and Derwood. For whatever reason, they introduce this statement as though there's some sort of logic to it. When you've backed them to a corner and get them to a place that they don't want to answer or they don't want to continue the conversation, they resort back to this. Listen, if I knew where they were, just like you, we'd go and get them. We'd go and get them. Listen, it's a distraction away from what's important. Now's not the time to start talking about where Jack and Lily was. It's still time to answer the question. They're trying to over talk the point and really change the point and manipulate that situation. They're all guilty of it. Those of you who talk to Derwood or Jordan or Janie or the rest of them in the background, that's a common claim that they particularly make, which is fucking ridiculous. It just shows you that they all use that with one another. No matter what it is that you say, guys, you're not saying the right thing because you're guilty of whatever happened to Jack and Lily, all right? As well, her her claiming to think that the kids are still alive, as irrational as that is, keeps her away from answering the most favorite question of detectives. That's what you think happened to Jack and Lily. If she says that, I believe that they're still alive, she wouldn't have to continue that particular conversation down a path that's going to expose through her language what really happened. So it's that simple. It's these little things. Not that any one thing that they say is a guide, but it's the reason why they're having that conversation in the first place. And a person who was victimized, or if this really did happen the way that they claim, which is a zero possibility chance, by the way, your behavior would reflect what it was that happened in this very traumatic sense. And you would be struggling to reach to find out any little piece of information for police. In all of the piles that Daniel says that he collects, he doesn't want to tell them what he fucking did in the hours leading up to midnight on the Thursday before they disappeared, reportedly. But yet he's filling up all of these pages of possible leads. And he can't even fill in the blanks of the timeline surrounding the RCMP call. There's no excuse for that. It's impossible not to. The refusal is an admission of just how guilty the son of a bitch is. So the RCMP have to deal with it in their way, which involves a little bit more time. Always, right? It's 9 to 5. I'm kidding. I give it to them in this. If there was a dude standing there with a bloody knife over two children, it'd be a lot easier to figure out what happened rather than coming on the scene with a bunch of lying individuals who's misrepresented what really happened and who have cleaned the scene up and just reported them disappeared. They walked away of their own volition, never to be seen again. Ah, bonjour, Esther. Merci, AB, for speaking the truth for Lily and Jack. Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's very generous of you. Get up here. Everybody needs a channel. Everybody get up here and make content about this in that sense. The more, the better. You talk about these scenarios. Real positive change happens in the future. It never happens when you need it, though. It's just the way. Annie, you're saying I'm putting more credence to the hypothesis that this was premeditated. Well, you can argue that. You can argue... Hold on, let me finish your statement. Because the fence was in the progress of being constructed at the time, albeit not finished, and particularly because it wasn't. So how do you take premeditated from this fence? What are you saying? Just that you recognized such a blatant, deceptive lie at this point in time? Yeah, everybody in this situation gets to where you are, I think, Annie. Some it only takes one lie. Some it takes the seventh lie. You know? I'm not about to be taking any more lies from anybody. And people who love to push their narratives, no matter how false, are just a tool, a puppet of propaganda. That's it. It's sad. Just change the channel. Christy, thank you for that. That's very generous, sending that membership to Ginger. I appreciate you, Sweet Tea. Thank you. That's generous, darling. I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to get up here and talk about things the way that they should be talked about. Oh, fuck, that would be impossible. Julia, I love that they can't get in AB's head and twist and manipulate its bliss. Oh, when it comes to them, fuck, they may as well deputize me. It's the deception. What's the interesting thing about all of this? You know, people want to focus. I love kids just like the next person. But what I can't get away from is the level of deception in this particular circumstance. That's what's the shocking about Jack and Lily Sullivan case, is how the parents and the people who were last put there to look after the kids, are lying. That's the interesting part here. This is what makes the content interesting. And I wouldn't be wasting my time if I was fucking wrong. Nobody's this stupid. When there is a lie, there's a reason for it here. It's not just one little one. Lori, Nova Scotia, God bless you. Love your energy, AB. Thank you, darling. There's too many people that question themselves because they have zero confidence in their own lives about anything. They're indecisive, and they think that what's been pushed in their head about missing child cases and remaining unbiased and in the middle no matter what is some sort of virtue signal. It's fucking ridiculous in this, and it takes away from the need to, I should rephrase that, the need to get behind something something that really is important to society in that sense. It's been like this since the 90s. And each time, the same sort of things happen in every case. With people involved, with newbies, with people thinking that they're all of that. Fake people trying to impress individuals close to the attention and the flow of eyes in the zeitgeist. I like just to stand right in the middle of it. I like to be that ghost from the movie Ghost that saw Patrick Swayze. You remember you know what I'm saying? That ghost who was telling him about the things throughout. Yeah, you've got to pay attention to things. You cannot get too emotionally attached to the kids. Best to stay focused on calling out the ones responsible. The damage has been done in this sense. They want for people to believe that they're out there still searching for the kids. This is what breaks my heart, because the lies and deception are out on the table now, and people are still wanting to waste their time and over focusing in an irrational way about going out and doing foot searches just for the sake of saying that you did. You need to have a reason to go out there. You need to have a reason, and a rational reason to go out there. You guys know that the kids just didn't wander off. They're put somewhere. Okay? The people who know where they are right in front of us. That's what the focus needs to be on. Now, it doesn't mean that people shouldn't go out and search. You don't want to send that message either, do you? It's important that people get the answers that they need in order to go and search a place if it is indeed important to the situation going forward. People arguing about what label it is based off of what their report was. It's kind of a big ball of bullshit. And it's not important to where the detectives are and what they think happened and how they're going to go about their next steps. It doesn't matter what it's labeled. Really, all of it's just a convenient for the public to feel that they are up to date on something, when in fact, you know where that's going. Don't expect anything, nor should we. We need this done right.
What kind of shit I got into, I would go and get them. And there's another thing that I would like to put out there. I would like whoever has the kids, or whoever knows where the kids are, please, if they want to and they want to get out of trouble, please drop them
Ginger.
off where they pick them up at night time. We do not have cameras. We do not have an outside street light. It is pure.
See, isn't that an interesting little quippet? You can drop the kids back off where you pick them up. They're really going that extra mile to plant these possibilities. Well, is that what you're up to now? Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you guys are thinking? Logan, did somebody probably pick the kids up by now? Just some random stranger? You guys don't want to say what it is that you guys believe happened to Jack and Lily. Why? Because you haven't developed or fabricated your bullshit story that far yet. That's even a bit of a jump for you.
But as I said, I have no control over Daniel, what he does and what he says. But what she said about me saying that that's the boy I raised and that's your son, that was an awful, awful thing to say about me. Because as I said, I have no control over
How
Daniel.
dare you?
And yes, he is my son. And I love him a lot. But I am not going to stand up for him because he's a big boy. And what he does and says is on him, not me. So, Sonny, the accusation that you said about me, that's my son. Yes, he is my son. And nobody will ever take that away from me. But the way you said it about him lying and everything has nothing to do with me.
Oh, yeah, it does. You're lying too, honey.
I think you should all go back and listen to what she said about me. And then you'll know what I'm saying.
Meow. Oh, how dare you, Sonny Austin. You have upset Janie. My God. It doesn't make any sense. She's just looking for a reason to be upset with somebody. I'm not coming back on your show again. I'm too upset with you. I don't like how you're representing my family in this time of need. We are the victims here. Don't you see? Can't you see we're the victims? She can't get past the point that Jack and Lily are the victims and not her at this point in time or at any point in time. It's not just the questions that are coming at her. It's her and her story and her claims. They're self-centered. And that's really, really bizarre and telling in a scenario which we're all here, in essence, to find Jack and Lily in limbo. Man, the biggest mystery to Daniel is how the door was closed behind them when the kids opened it up to go out. In his mind, in that sense, that blows my mind. Why the door is so center to everything, and it's only because it's the one place that they can all put the blame back on to Jack and Lily. Then they'll still continue after they've proceeded with this case as a defense to putting the blame back on Jack and Lily in all of this. What's known about Daniel's other children, Shannon? The boys' girls' ages, they're a little older than Jack and Lily. They're not allowed to come over and visit anymore because the mom won't let it because of Daniel's problems with the Tina and the Jib, the Cristal, the math. Daniel's a tweaker. It's out, and mom won't let him see the kids nor Janie because obviously the level of deception at hand. She sees what's going on over here at the house. She sees how angry Janie is in that fucking RV, and she won't allow the kids to ever come back again, especially when and after they were talked to by I believe Children's Aid or some psychologist and fingered Daniel for being abusive towards Jack and Lily. So there's a whole thing going on. That's all that we really know. But you can imagine. You can imagine. Michelle, isn't Emmanuel Haro's mom still maintaining she got knocked out in that parking lot? That fucking story. That's a whopper too, isn't it? That's fairly elaborate. Whew, one hell of a punch. But you know what's fascinating is how easy it is for these individuals to find a simp along the way. Do you remember early on in the Haro mother's case, they had a brother or sorry, a sister-in-law that was making these videos to upload them, talking about how wonderful of a mother and father that they both were, and how they wouldn't do this type of thing or whatever it is that you're thinking they're doing, a type of scenario. Oh yeah, it was happening at that side too. It didn't get very far. The need, you don't have the need for anybody to go to bat for you to make you look better on social media. If people are complaining, there's a reason for it. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the case. They're making themselves look like shit. They're making themselves look guilty. They're the problem. And they want you to believe that what it is that you're not hearing is okay. Why don't you have the RCMP clear you? The RCMP are not going to come out and clear Janie or Daniel in any of this. That's what you should be really insistent upon, and those words should be coming out of your frickin' mouths. According to them, J and L were able to put their own boots on, able to close the door quietly and evade helicopter thermal imaging drones and 160 plus volunteers. They are bloody amazing kids. Well, yeah, very ninja-like. Well, you can see what's interesting when you listen to Janie is the tone and how different she speaks about her grandkids and Malaya's grandkids. There's a clear separation where she acknowledges that. It doesn't matter much what she says. The fact that she's bringing up that there's a difference, yeah, well, we can see that, Janie. She's identifying it. Even Earl does. They can't help but. They claim to be better grandparents than any of the other individuals that were in these kids' lives. They're just so fucking fantastic. These missing children. Ginger wants to know, if you're so good, Janie, why are you not allowed to see your grandchildren? You're lucky you're not on her driveway right now. She'll come at you with claws flying. You can't talk to her like that. She's just a ball of energy ready to pop at any point in time. She's got to be on some of the substances we're talking about. The more I get to know about her, the more I truly believe it. In a situation like this, you want to have all of your ducks lined up before you make an official move on anything. It's not going to be a little step here and a little step there. It's going to be one major pivot, and then things are going to be a different story for these assholes.
And I would try to go coasting with them, but I have some medical problems. I couldn't really go coasting with them, but I would push them down the hill in the sleigh. I would play snowballs with them. I'd build snowmans with them. I never seen Malaya ever do that with them. Would she?
The way that she even tries to describe, playing with children. I'm throwing them down in the snow. I'm pushing them down hills. I'm whipping snowballs at them. Sounds more like abuse than it does playing with the child in that sense. There's a time where you could use we. Guys like to use we so much. There's a time, an appropriate time to use it, and you're not taking it.
He was out watching them coast. She was pulling Meadow around in the sleigh. After Meadow was born, yes, Meadow got all the attention. I seen that with my own 2 eyes. Yes.
What does that mean to them? What do you guys think that means to them? Like it's after Meadow was born, all of the attention went towards Meadow. What does that mean to them? And why are they using it in a negative way against Malaya at this point in time? Although, as though she's at fault. She's doing one of these preemptive things like she's doing with Bradley Wong in this situation.
Jack and Lily were sort of put on the back burner, yes.
Yeah, the kids got put on the back burner. She's admitting to the kids living life second, third class around there, underneath the animals. And it was Malaya's fault. Because it wasn't anybody else's fault. It was Malaya's fault only that the kids were fallen by the wayside, were being neglected, is what we're hearing. And Janie is using a lot of distancing language, I would think. I would interpret in this sense, excuse me. What does that mean to them, though? It's still not direct. It's vague. What does that mean, and why are you using it so often? It's not just a one-off. This has been brought up several times by Janie and Daniel. What does that exactly mean? Because when you have them explain exactly what that means, what they're doing is explaining the dysfunction within that household. So they're IDing the dysfunction. I don't know if they think of it like that, but I guess it doesn't matter.
I've never seen, when I would go in there after school, I would never see Malaya sit down and do their homework with them. I would never see Malaya read.
Well, because they're 4 and 6. How much homework do you think a 4 to 6-year-old have? Did you guys smile today? Did you guys behave okay today? Well, you get a little star here, kids. When I go in there, like as though Janie was monitoring all of this. She wants you to think that she's on top of all of this. She knows enough to talk shit about it, but when it comes down to it, she distances herself from old Daniel. Oh, they're big. I don't see anything. That's a whole separate, entity over there, different from where I am over here, 10 feet away on the driveway in this broken down fucking RV. Do you know what would really piss her off in there? The fact that she's in there in the first place because of all of this. So everything would stand out to her. Heaven forbid she be high too out there. Introduce even more substances to the situation than that are already have been discovered by way of Daniel. Maybe that's why she's so sensitive that she didn't want the cops in there, because she's a tweaker too. She had her glass dick out there and all of her fucking big black rubber dildos stuck to the side of the wall. God knows what the hell she does in there with all of that tweaks away and complains about everything that goes on in her trailer, like Mr. Furley. So you pop in there, and every time you pop in there, you don't see her doing any homework with the kids. All of the shit she sees that's not being done. That's the kind of mind frame, the authoritarian mind frame that you get in when you want to be an asshole. You want to go throw a heavy with these kids? I mean, that's like a form of bullying in that sense. Like you're popping up in there, and what are you expecting when you walk in there? Kids shall be on typewriters with their glasses, and they're taking dictation, saying yes sir, no sir, oh yes, oh would you like something? Can I rub your back a little bit? What the hell do you expect goes on in here? Why is she taking all of this time to throw shade at Malaya this way? But in the meanwhile, she doesn't see the bigger picture as how poorly that makes her as an individual in Jack and Lily's life look. No matter if she wants to associate herself with Jack and Lily's everyday life or not. Like it or not, she was living in their driveway. So let's put it this way. Imagine there's 2 missing children, okay? And for the entire time, the kids disappeared from the house, only to come to find out less than 15 feet away that there was a stalker stalking them for at least 2 years. Kind of like there is here. It would be incredibly telling and pivotal to the case. Well, just because you're calling Janie, a step grandmother in this scenario doesn't mean that she was doing anything productive or positive in the lives of Jack and Lily. That's doing a lot of assuming. It's a lot of assumption. Because the way that she leads on, she wasn't. She's the one who differentiates that to us. There's a big difference. She doesn't know. She can only observe things from afar. Even though it's 10 feet away in the fucking driveway, she's acting like a psychopathic stalker in the lives of Malaya and the kids. There's no real warm sense of family. There's really no interactions that are together. There's a divide, and she's pointing it out for us here on the property. And it has everything to do with Malaya and her kids, probably, and it stems from the fact that they're fucking racist. They're racist as fuck. Especially Janie. And she's got something against anybody who isn't like Janie, who isn't a fucking cousin. There's just a reason. There's something different about that person, so she doesn't like it. And it comes out, and it screams to people through what's happening now and the interactions through the fake accounts that always like to creep up in your comment section and leave certain racially motivated comments, either putting the blame back onto where Jack and Lily are as though away on some other reservation by way of Malaya and her extended family from parts unknown. It's fucking bullshit, and it's a racist move in that sense. And that's Derwood in a nutshell. And that's Janie as well. You can smell it. You can see it. She can be talking horribly about a person and then on top of it tell you that she's going to hide the true way she feels about that person from you, meaning Malaya. Oh, I don't even want to tell you what I thought of her the first time I met Malaya. So there's a sense of superiority over Malaya in this circumstance. You can see it from Janie. Tammy Worley 7589 says Janie is a control freak. She will live in a camper not to help but to be able to say she didn't like none of them. She should be ashamed, but she's not. Exactly. She doesn't think she's in the wrong. Right, exactly. She's got her technicalities all screwed up, and it makes her look even more guilty because the question automatically becomes, something that's going to make Janie look guilty.
To them. I would always read to them when I would babysit them. Yes, I babysit Jack and Lily.
She would always read to them. Look at, she's going a little bit far here. Always when I would do it. I look at how she did. She babysat twice. 2 times. She babysat 2 times, and the one time was because Malaya allegedly called 911 on herself and checked her into the emergency room up onto the psych ward at the hospital because she was having an anxiety attack because of the level of shit that was going on around the house. You think she just, and what Janie and Daniel want to say is because she was overwhelmed with the children, the kids. See how the kids are getting the blame for everything? No, that's not natural in that sense. I could see where Janie and Daniel were blaming Malaya for everything and gaslighting her nonstop to drive her to a point of having a breakdown. And that would come, and they would feel that they could do that, and that was her property now because she just had a baby with Daniel. Therefore, it gives her some sort of right behind closed doors to then interfere in somebody else's life. Make herself seem more important because there is Meadow to consider now. Therefore, she has to deal with Janie because she's grandma. And it's her trailer you're living in. So it's a really shitty position to be in to even establish some healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries, inhibitions out the window in this household. Janie's a hero for watching the kids while their mom was in the hospital. So much resentment, says CJ. You're right. I detect some sarcasm.
Whenever they went somewhere, I would babysit them. And I had no problem with Jack and Lily. Jack and Lily would sit with me and watch TV. I would take Jack. He would hold him in my arms. He would pretend he was swimming. He would pretend he was playing airplane. Lily would be running around showing me her dolls. And, like, yes, I did more interaction with those children than Malaya did.
Bold statements. Bold statements. I don't even believe it. Even though she might have a reason why she's complaining, I don't believe that at all. That's certainly not the way that it should be, should it? How is it you're spending more time around Jack and Lily than even Malaya is? Can you believe this? Does anybody else have a problem with that claim? So, it's not important, but it is important, is the way she's making Malaya look in all of this. You're inconsistent. You're inconsistent to your earlier statements when you go and now say that you spent all of this time around Jack and Lily. Now we have to wonder, how much time did you really spend around Jack and Lily? Here you're saying more time than Malaya. Is she exaggerating? Why is she exaggerating? Why is she lying? Grammy, you think Janie gave them all their baths? Cooked for them? Could you see? Well, see, there's no talk about that. Janie, you would be thinking about all of the great meals that you cooked the family as a big, happy, get along, Brady Bunch style, packed into this trailer like a bunch of sardines, getting on each other's nerves around the fire on the nightly basis. You would be sipping on a little bit of vodka, of course, drinking from the bottom.
And as I was saying, if you have to call their mother to tell them that Jack has no boots on or Jack has no coat on, and if she's supposed to be watching them all the time, that's a...
Nothing says gaslighting. That's literal gaslighting right there, isn't it? Think about what it is that you're doing. You're picking something that's bad about the other person and saying to the third person, you're the person who thought to pick up the phone and call her in the first place. So you're calling somebody, then screaming down the line that it's their fault that you called them. Like, you're really putting so much more on Malaya in a circumstance, and anybody for that matter. Think about how she's portraying it. She's saying, what kind of person relies on me to remind her that her kids aren't clothed properly when they're outside? To paraphrase. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense on many levels. And it shows you the resentment and the problem within the house, the dysfunction. A contributing factor to the incident in which they all had to conspire to get away with this particular crime. And that had to do with coming up with this false bullshit story that they told the RCMP. The one that they don't want to fill in all of the timeline spaces around the hours leading up to what would otherwise be what they want us to believe, the time frame that's most important. Because nothing was happening, nothing eventful, but there was. There's so much more to talk about.
Bunch of bullcrap. Because I would even watch my other two grandchildren when they were out in the yard, and I would always keep an eye on them when they were in the yard. And I was always yelling for them, where are you guys, where are you guys? And the only time those kids really got outside is when she was putting Meadow down for her nap. And when she would put Meadow down for her nap, she would go down for a nap too with Meadow. Well, as I said, that's between her and Malaya. Well, as I said, that's between her and Malaya. Well, let's start with Jack. Jack was a curious little boy. He was a happy little go-lucky boy. But I'll tell you, if he didn't want to do something, he wasn't going to do it.
Isn't that interesting? Let me tell you about Jack, and there's a but in it. That's what sticks out to me. What about you guys? Could you imagine getting at somebody's funeral and speaking like that? Well, let me. I just want to share a few things in this eulogy here. Yeah, Jack was a generous man. I personally couldn't stand the piece of shit. Come on now. But
because when I would get after him to put his shoes on, and when he was running around his bare feet, I would say, Jack, put your shoes on.
You know, they complain all the time about the kids not being dressed appropriately. It's amazing that morning that they took the time to go out of their way to put their boots on and walk themselves out the door and close behind them, when they complain nonstop about the rest of the time that they're around. Their life revolves around the fact that they're not doing the one thing that they ended up doing. Just ironic, isn't it all? So you're always complaining to Malaya about the kids not having their coats or boots or anything properly on, but you told the police that the kids put their boots on to the point where they listed it on the missing poster. They put their boots on, something that you guys are telling us that that's not a normal thing for them to do. So why would they decide to put their boots on and walk out into Neverland? Disappear. Or go to a place that you guys don't want to talk about. This. They walked out that door into the this and that, the it. You guys are storytelling.
I've said this, and he would just stand there and put his arms up, fold his arms up, and go, eh, 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 eh. And that's all I would get out of him.
Holy fuck, Cruella DeVille here. Did you guys have your earbuds in for that? Oh, shit. What does that sound like? What movie is that from? That's from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin when he melts down in that hotel room on John Candy. And he's yelling at him about being like a doll who never shuts the hell up, and he keeps repeating himself. He's pulling that string out from his belly 4 times. That's exactly what Janie just did about a missing child. The only thing that she could get out of him were like 4 grunts. That's all he could get out of him. Holy shit. As a child, you would be absolutely terrified of any interaction with this old broad. It's like living in hell. What a fucking bitch. There's no possible way kids like this old broad. Like when you're a kid, you don't have words for it, but you know what it is. It's like there's no possible way. Kids like smiles and cuddles and good times and candy and food and, you know, engaging activities, not being yelled at or prodded or told what to do. You boss them around as though they're always doing something wrong. They need to stay in line, and that's out of control in this household. You can see that. That would suck. And if I was Jack and Lily, I would thank me right now for having the balls to even fucking say shit like this. People should be saying it all the time because that's what Jack and Lily need. They were the victims of a brutal crime right now. And what should really stick to your hiney is the fact that the people that are in charge to protect them are spinning their story in order to protect their own asses because of whatever negligence and abuse that they brought upon these kids, thinking that you're fucking stupid and you're going to take all of this. This is an emergency. Nobody in their lives are looking at it publicly from a realistic standpoint because they've got too much at stake. They've got a piece, an opinion. They've got too much in the game. This is fucking nonsense. If I ever fucking disappear, it doesn't even matter if I'm a kid. People start making any excuses like this. Something's fucking up, people. Question it. Call them out. The kids could tell they weren't wanted there. You're saying, Tammy, kids are not as dumb as people think. Well, of course. Throw mama from the train? Yeah, that's a good one, too. That's Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito. You don't have a cousin, Norman. You lied to me. That's a good spot. If you like that sort of comedy. Like, it's pretty evil. I don't think that I have seen. There's probably lots more that's a lot worse than this, but I'm not sure that I've seen it. That old Danny boy has gone to such extents to go out of their way to get away with whatever happened to the kids that night. Like, just when you thought that humans couldn't shrink to a lower place on the pole, it couldn't get any worse. Things like this happen, and he's more than happy to carry on the backs of these 2 children who it's obvious they don't like, who people know that there's a problem with, and put all of the blame back onto them and pretend that he's somehow victimized and in need of some sort of positive prayer emotion, and you can give your donations to fucking Kent. Maybe even buy a keychain to spread some awareness. Because that's what you do at this point. Get the hell on out of fucking here.
Other than that, he was a curious little boy. That's all he would do all day. When he was outside was sit and turn boards over or rocks over looking for bugs and worms. I had my granddaughter down digging worms for the chicken.
You usually do that when there's nothing else to do. But it's an age thing. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But there's probably not a whole lot more for him to be out there doing. All he's doing is sitting out there in the prison yard with this old bitch monitoring him in there from the confines of her prison cell in the driveway of the RV, cursing at him, monitoring, looking to snitch on his ass at any point in time. That's all you're doing is snitching on him. What a crazy place to live. We're very isolating out there in this hellhole.
And he would come down there and he would grab every worm that he could see. And when it would come time to go feed the chickens, he goes, no, they were my friends. I'm keeping them. He would play on the swing. He was a happy-go-lucky boy. Lily, she was a Miss Prim girl, as I would say, if that's what you call it. I guess they call her a diva or whatever, but to me, Miss Prim. Because what...
Miss Prim. It's interesting that you say that to a 4-year-old, or a 6-year-old, excuse me. Coming from this Temu queen. Like, what does that mean to her? Anybody that doesn't shop on Temu?
Whenever she would get her clothes dirty, she would go in and change her clothes. I never knew what that girl was going to come out in. She had a kitchen out in the yard. I had a play kitchen. I got a play kitchen for them. Well, for my oldest two grandchildren. And when they weren't here, that's what she did. She'd play with the kitchen. She'd make mud pies. She would pretend she was making hot chocolate or coffee or tea. If a bug got around her, she would scream, there's a bug. And she would go running in the house because there was a bug. Jack would just say, where's the bug? That's all they ever, from what I observed, they just played on the swings a lot. Her and the oldest grandchild would play on the swing. They would sit up there and they'd sing. I would sit there on my doorstep and listen to them sing. They would run around the yard, and that's all I ever heard was Lily say, come on, Jackie, let's go, Jackie. Come here and play, Jackie. Come here and play. They were bright little kids. They talked a breeze. Like when someone came into my yard, like if my brother came into my yard, they would come and say hi, and my brother would talk to them, and they would talk to him, and Jack would be there. Oh, look at my worms, or look at my bugs. I remember one day we caught a salamander, him and I, and Daniel said, Jack, you have to let the salamander go, because if not, it'll die. Well, I snuck the salamander out of the bucket, and he looked for that salamander, and he cried, because we let his salamander go. Jack was just into bugs. He loved bugs. Lily was into the kitchen, making mud pies. And then when
the way she describes this salamander situation is bizarre. Because you probably treated it like you ripped it away. You made it a traumatic incident for the child rather than help him understand or learn something from it or engage with the child or get anything from the interaction, which would be a reason to bring it up in the first place. But not to Janie. Not to Janie. She wants to use it as a way to add credence to what it is that she sang on the back of Jack again. Listen, you just traumatized a kid and put the blame back on them as though it was their fault for not understanding it. Okay, you're skipping over all of these important parts of what it is to be and what all of the little things are that bond us to our children. You're just like you're out there like the prison warden, like this is a concentration camp.
when my two oldest grandchildren would come down, every second weekend they would come. My oldest granddaughter would come in here.
So every second weekend, Let's give them every second weekend for 24 months. How many times is that, do you think, that they were at the house when the kids were there?
And they'd say, Granny, we want some snacks to
So
go
21,
up to the little cabin they built, or
26,
the
so it's
little
25.
fort they built. They built it themselves out of sticks and brush. And I'd say, there's the fridge. My other two grandchildren, they could have
50
whatever they
over 2
wanted.
years,
My fridge was
almost
like
50.
one of those doors when you go into a store. It would open and close all the time. My oldest granddaughter would come in here and she would take snacks for all of them and pack them in her backpack and go up to the camp. And another thing, the backpack thing. I've never seen Lily outside with that backpack. Daniel told me that they always tried to keep her from taking it outside. But I've never seen her with that pack. The only time outside playing, but the time I did see her with the backpack.
You know what stands out to me too, thinking about this bullshit story, is the dynamic that there is, especially in the morning. Because when you get up in the morning, you want to get up and get ready. Like, how do you think it is to get up when you've got no fucking running water? You know, maybe if best you've got a little mini fridge. You might be able to keep your coffee creamer cold in that RV, but you're not getting up and you're not having a thorough warm soak and getting cleaned and rejuvenated and ready for your day. You've got to come into the RV to get that. You got to come in and use the RV. So if you're up so early, what is it that you're doing? You just get up and smoke and drink your coffee and do fucking whatever? Don't believe that, especially on this Friday. There had to have been a reason why you altered your daily routine, if that truly was. But think about it. Like, especially old Janie drinking all that coffee that she sits in there and smokes cigarettes. She's got to take a piss every now and then. She probably pisses in a bucket, disposes that out wherever. But what does she do when she's really got to have a comfortable shit-shaven shower? She goes into the trailer. And on the other side of her mouth, she wants to tell you that she's in the trailer all the time. In there enough to notice that Malaya's doing all of these things wrong. That they're not at the table doing their homework at 4 and 6. So she's insisting that she's in and she's out. And then she just selectively turns a blind eye to anything that would be otherwise suspicious in that sense. When she tells you that Daniel is a big boy and he can look after himself, and she ignores everything that goes on in the trailer, it's their business. Hardly. That's not the way that she's talking. So she's trying to be everything to everybody and contradicting herself in the same breath. It's very bizarre. Not bizarre that you should walk away more confused, because this is a suspect who was last, and like it or not, on the property where 2 children were reported to have gone missing. Now, even though they brought together a bullshit story, that's where the kids should have been. So it would otherwise point to you being responsible. And old Janie wants to tell you that she was crying at the end of the woodpile because she gotten up that day. None of this would have happened. She was already up. She was already up. Then whatever happened under her nose 5 feet away. Went to sleep, went back to sleep. She was in and out of sleep. And when she woke up to Daniel yelling, it was around 20 minutes, allegedly, that the number is that they won't have used since the kids must have gone missing. Now, she doesn't know or remember any of the time frames because none of that's important to her, especially in any interview. And that's another blatant indicator of deception that just slaps you right in the face about all of her bullshit story. Sorry, honey.
Backpack is when my 2 other grandchildren would come down. She'd want a backpack too, because The oldest grandchild had a backpack, and she wanted to be just like her and have a backpack.
That's exactly right, my chat. That they all want you to think when whatever happened, the incident, that they were all in and out and dozing in and out of sleep. Otherwise, this is somehow, distances themselves from any sort of accountability or wrongdoing. But at the same time, they want to tell you what the kids were doing. They just weren't aware of it at the time. My other two grandchildren could have whatever they want. Julie8715. That's what she's saying. She's differentiating the two. She's telling you about Jack and Lily, then she's using her other two grandchildren in ways that would seem more human or more bonded in that sense. Telling you, even when she uses it as an example, to show everybody that she does care about kids, because I do it with my other two grandkids. All she's doing is highlighting how different she's classifying Jack and Lily in this situation from being a regular part of the family. So I wonder what old Janie's problem was with Malaya. I wonder what her issue was. She figured that she was just this slutty hussy. Probably, you know what it is? She probably hears Daniel bang her all night long when he's all fucked up on that tweak, having sex all night into the early night with the window open, and it's dead silent out there, and she can hear all of that, right? And so she's thinking she's just like this fuck piece. Really jealous of it. Too much boot knocking going on. She thinks she's just a 2-bit hussy. This woman coming into my son's life with all of this baggage and trapping him with another child, and she's this way. Well, she just can't be acting in all of these immoral ways around, she's got a reason to complain now, so she finds something to hold against her rather than befriend her and otherwise be a nice, gentle individual and a positive influence in her life. Janie's the opposite of that. She doesn't have the intention.
Oh, and another thing, when we go walking up the old road here, top of up top of the hill here, up above my place there, if Jack didn't want to walk, Jack wouldn't walk. He would stand there and he would I'd say, "Come on, Jack, we're gonna walk." He would stand there and he would stamp his feet, fold his arms, and just look at me. And I'd say, "Come on, Jack, we're going for a walk." I'd have to go and take him by the hand to make him walk. Jack was a kid. If he didn't want to do something, he wasn't going to do it. Lily, she would walk along. I'd have to yell at Lily, "Lily, wait up for us, wait up for us." But Jack, no. Jack would not move if you didn't take him by the hand and tell him to come on. Apparently Lily was the only one that was sick. I think the reason why Jack didn't go to school is because I don't think she wanted Jack to go to school by herself. That's my opinion. They missed school to Thursday, yes. They went to town Thursday around lunchtime. I have no idea what they went. I do not even know what they bought. I heard them out in the yard here.
Yeah, there's that too, Shannon. There's something intellectually wrong with this woman. Yes, but she's also lying. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a confusing one. You can't just blame it all on one or the other. It's a combination of both. And that really speaks to the environment that the poor kids were living in and the pressures that popped.
Thursday afternoon. And when I heard them out, my dog started barking. My dog tells me when the kids are in the yard. Okay? I went out. When they heard them out in the yard, my dog started barking. I opened the door and let my dog out. My dog is penned in. I do not let
my dog tells me.
My dog around Jack and Lily. From what I hear through the grapevine.
Through the grapevine. Somebody was commenting how funny that was. Like, how elusive is that statement? Well, I heard through the grapevine that the kids don't like dogs, so you're going to go ahead and have that embellish your story? Come on, Janie. You purposefully don't keep your dog away from Jack and Lily. That's not a good thing in this situation. The dog soon sees the kids as an adversary, as its prey, no matter what dog it is. Which dog is she talking about? Is she thinking about their Tucker, or is it the other dog that Chelsea and Belinda are referencing? But why doesn't she keep or socialize her dog around the kids? Wouldn't that be wouldn't that be the first thing that you would do when you moved in? Wouldn't that be the first thing that you do if you had kids in your house? You want them to get to know each other. That way your dog doesn't go freaking nuts every time it sees a stranger and she considers the kids to be a stranger. And that's a key word here, because you treat the kids in this residence as strangers in your home. Therefore, a burden.
Jack and Lily have not been around animals. When they first came here, I tried to introduce my dog to Jack and Lily, and Lily started to scream because my dog was near her. Ever since that, I've kept my dog away from the kids.
Oh, well, that sounds like a learning experience. It sounds like an important part of being a parent and helping a child get to know the do's and don'ts around animals. It's going to come in handy in life. So it makes me question the legitimacy of the claim in the first place. Nobody does that.
Jack and Lily. Thursday, when I opened up the door, Jack and Lily were right beside the playhouse looking for worms under a board. Jack said to me, "Look, Granny, I found a worm. I found a centipede." I said, "Good boy, you keep looking." That's when I went over in my front of my RV and started raking the gravel for the swimming pool.
Yeah, Magdalena, talking about Wade, said that the kids were used to dogs. Yeah, Wade's got dogs. Everybody, the kids were already used to dogs in their lives. So with this grapevine of hers, I wonder what this grapevine, maybe that's Derwood. Your lover. AB proper introduction to the dog essential. Yes. The kids were already acclimatized to canines. Maybe Janie Michelle says DM and MVM were not in it for the long haul. Not if she could help it. Who knows? You know, who knows? She wants to be seen as, it depends. I don't think that she would really even know. There's no such thing as grounded for her in this situation. You can see where all the blame goes. It's all going to fall on Malaya. They've already talked about it preemptively. That's your easiest route to finding Jack and Lily in this sense. Tammy Worley says, what and where were Janie when they got black eyes and missing school? Why didn't she put a stop to the ABUSC then? Was she abusing them too? Well, you can hear it in their language. She was certainly neglecting them. Instead of stopping to take time out and teach a child, she used that as an opportunity to rat the child out, to use it against their mother, stomp her feet and tell you all of the things that you were doing wrong instead of going ahead and finding a solution to the problem in the first place, which would be a lot easier and more beneficial, especially if your true intent was for them not to do it again. Well, it looks like you're going to have to take the time to explain it, especially when we're speaking about a 4 and a 6-year-old. We're not speaking about a 20 and 21-year-old on the manufacturing line in a plant. You're talking about 2 children. It goes without saying that you stop and do something in order to help the situation further, as opposed to how it was that she would say she's responding. If that was indeed true, she's just a crazy psycho. She's a psycho old bitch. She shouldn't be around kids, and that's probably the fucking problem. Daniel was raised by this weirdo. Raking up dog shit in the yard. Not to level ground for a pool. They were broke but planning to get an above ground pool. I don't think so. Exactly, Shannon. A pool for Jack and Lily out there. Yeah, exactly. Just shows that she's old hat at just making shit up on the run. She chooses to lie. So don't expect that to get any better, right? We're going to have to do this the hard way. The investigators have to do this the hard way. But the fun part about all of this is that she's going to be just as ridiculous on the stand in trial as she is as providing what they did to police in person. I can't wait to see the body cam footage. I can't wait to see how these assholes acted the day that the police responded to this particular call. I want to see the look in their fucking eyes. I want to see how tweaked out Daniel was, bopping and slapping all over the place. I want to see the brouhaha at the end of the driveway. Janie going after Haley and Logan. All of these nasty beasts. Furious. So he tells you, in my opinion, at that point in time, they all had to have known. Not Haley in that sense, but when you talk about Janie, she knew at that point in time. She's part and parcel to this cover-up. The reason why probably has to do with what happened to Jack and Lily directly, as opposed to just simping for Daniel solely. There has to be more to it, because she really does feel responsible deep down. Because she is responsible. Like, it would be impossible if you're a human being and you were in Jack and Lily's life. It's going to be very difficult for a human being not to feel responsible in some sort of way. And that would overtake any sort of emotions, because you are terrified that the kids were there and now they're not, and it would make you shake out of your skin not knowing. And there's none of that in this circumstance. Malaya retired to her mother's house. Doesn't want to talk to anybody. Something else happened other than the story that Stupid and his mother continued to push online far after the fact. Something else happened. And we know that because Daniel gave himself away by talking about exactly contradicting the story that they gave, by starting to tell people that, oh, that's not right, this isn't right, otherwise altering the story and saying that the facts that they presented aren't facts and it's something different now. You've changed your story already. Why? You're contradicting your initial claims. Why? Lori Green, if Malaya got physically abused, no matter what, you don't let the person doing it to you do it to your children. When CAS visited, that was an option to get out, in your opinion. Well, people don't think about that when they have authorities come into their lives and knock on their door. Sometimes it's easier to lie to get them out of your life and move on because you're in a certain mindset. Malaya is not thinking in the right mindset, partially because of the environment that she's chosen to be in. She's in like a dangerous cult. She needs to be deprogrammed from these fucking morons. Is that happening? No. She doesn't know in that sense. I'm talking about the moments leading up to it because she doesn't figure the worst thing is going to happen. She's accepted all of the rules and all of the things that her kids are doing that are bad to warrant all of this ill treatment towards her and her kids. She doesn't know any different. She's putting herself through it for whatever fucking reason now that she's tied to Daniel through Meadow. And she's the last person to really identify a true emotion inside. She's got her own issues. So it would have been it's so easy to think about what could have been the trigger factor in all of this. So Malaya was going to leave Daniel. Malaya just got her car. She has everything ready to go in that sense. And it's still an unresolved topic. And Daniel doesn't want that. And when he's really to the point where he's ready to let her go, it's the complete opposite. He no longer wants to shower her with all of these promises. He turns into even bigger of a fucking asshole and wants to hurry up the process. And he's not forthcoming. He's a liar, a manipulator, and he's lying and manipulated to her. So what is it she's supposed to believe? The safest and easiest thing for a person to do, like the path of least resistance in this circumstance, is to do nothing. And that's what she's very good at doing. So I hear. She'll call Cindy and Patty and complain to them on the phone, which would stoke the fires in that sense. But there comes a time, right? There comes a point in time, having been through it, where there's things change, they transition in your mental approach to things, that there's no use in reconciliation and there's nothing that you can do to change the situation, yet you're somehow forced to go and face and look at this person all day, not to mention the children and all of the bullshit. It makes a person irate and angry when all of it's not in their control within a space that they would otherwise feel that's 100% or should be 100% in their control, being their own house. So then that's when it comes to affect Daniel about having to do all of these things on Malaya's behalf, because that's truly the way he feels, especially at the moment when the incident had happened. Here he has to go do something that's Malaya's job. She doesn't have any more use for me. She wants out of this relationship, and here I am still looking after these two random kids. What a fucking asshole. Just that much more reason to have something to hold against the person in the moment. Just a possibility. It's probably even worse than that. I'm just talking in the cycle and escalation of intrafamilial violence, they like to call it. Fancy word for domestic. Anyway.
because I was waiting for Daniel to find his tools so he could help me put the top board up on the fence so I could put the boards up, because I couldn't hold one end and nail the other end. Anybody that knows that, anybody that does carpentry knows that that's impossible to do.
Well, you guys know nothing about carpentry, that's for sure. We can see that in your projects around the house. Now, what is that in my chat, Tammy? Or where did I see that? That's why Daniel kept her away from friends and family. Yeah, isolation. She could have asked her family for help. Instead, living like that, she did help them. She did ask them. He had her believing she couldn't leave, and then she could get help, but his help. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's definitely a cycle of abuse happening here. And a pattern of an abusive relationship. Like that's fairly common, right? Where a situation where, you know, you recognize it to be such and everybody does, but they talk about it behind their back, and the person's now going to come out and tolerate it and go back to the person. Well, you know, don't get mad when it happens again, right? But it escalates, and often it does, and that's what it seems to be like between Malaya and Daniel. Now, Daniel's problems all stem from the fact that he does the mathematics on a daily basis, admittedly. That's a major contributing factor to all of the weird pressures that she's under and these rules for his family. This backwoods fucking weirdo honky shit going on there. Trying to figure out the reasons or the rationale would be useless without taking into consideration that we know that Daniel admittedly was high as much as possible during the entirety of this relationship. That supersedes everything else as a contributing factor, unfortunately, until we know more information. Yeah, Tammy, it was mind games. He got away with it, and her and everyone around him, that's why he thinks he will get away with this. I get you. Well, he doesn't know any different. You're just seeing a continuation of the type of piece of shit that he is. Probably the same sort of treatment that Malaya had to go through with living with him. Exact same lies. It's just a continuation of the relationship, only now it's more public than it was previous to the incident. The it, the this, the that, the thing that they don't want to reference directly. The whatever happened to Jack and the Lily part that they dance around. Shannon's saying the kids didn't listen to her, only him, made me sit up and take notice. Oh yeah, exactly. What an off thing for an individual to say in the moment, right? That was just another one for me, but it made me sit up as well. That wasn't the first one at that point. Yeah, that would make you sit up. Like, what a bizarre fucking misogynistic, unnecessary thing to say in public. Dude's tweaking. It tells you that he's really trying to act as though he is bonded to these children with some special relationship in the moment in order to draw sympathy from the public, especially the RCMP that he's working with. Because he has to account for why he's acting so often bizarre. Lying comes along with the abuse of the substance. He lies because he has to.
To get it balanced and hold one end up and the other end drop. After Daniel helped me, I continue putting the boards on the fence. But there was another fence on the other side that was there before that. So I was out there doing my fence. Jack and Lily were in the backyard playing. I came in the house to have some supper. I do not know when the kids went in the house. I don't know what time they went to bed. I don't know anything of that.
So what's really interesting about her, don't just fade away from that. That should be your answer. That should be your key indicator of avoidance, number one. But you think all of this time that you guys have talked that the story would have gotten better, and there are some important factors to this. If indeed you felt them that important to communicate to people, you don't go and communicate that you don't know any of the times, that you can't remember. You just went into grave detail, being specific about all kinds of different things to you, except when it comes to time and seeing the kids and what time it was. You're fucking lying. Okay? That's how we can tell you're lying. That's just one of them. You're omitting. You don't want to talk about it. You want us to accept the fact that you don't want to give us the timelines that would corroborate any sort of straight time frame in the Thursday, in the moments leading up to your call on Friday at 10:02 a.m. You can't have it that way. It doesn't work like that. That's going to get you a one-way ticket to a preliminary hearing, and they're going to pass it with flying colors. That's making a suspicious situation even that much more suspicious. And worth pursuing, worth investigating. Investigators aren't going to care what it is that you say. It's not going to change the fact that you don't want to give an answer. You refuse to answer these particular questions, which is so wrong. And it goes for all three of them when it comes to this. If something truly happened, they've had enough time to say, yeah, it must have been this time. I talked to Dani, I talked to Malaya, and it was this time after the fact. But you want to be satisfied in not knowing anything and continuing to not know anything, even though in the moment you might forget. It tells me that you're fabricating, you're lying. This is your story, and you're sticking to it. Not because it's a fact, but because you can't move from it. Otherwise, you'll be exposed. You've got no context to back this up.
All I can tell you is from what I told you, my brother called me at 8:48. We talked for 2 minutes, 59 seconds. After that, I laid down. My dog barked because Lily and Jack were here where the swings are. I have a board up over my window. I did not see them because the board was closed. The reason I have a board up over my window is for the winter time to keep the draft out and for the summertime to keep the sun out. I heard them Friday morning. I swear on a Bible. Better than that, I swear on my father's grave. I heard them.
Whoa. So you're swearing on a Bible? You're swearing on your daddy's grave? That's the selling point? Why don't you just give the world a pinky swear? Tammy says, how was she supporting herself? She's seen free food and Daniel, her baby, coming home. Get him to be the man of the house, because no man in his right mind would have anything to do with her, and those I do. What are you saying? What am I reading? I read that wrong, probably. Daniel's tweaker fence. Maybe he can sell the design and instructions on IKEA. Oh, they'll definitely be stealing this one. You can do it with all the scrap lumber that they throw out. They call it the trashy look, trailer trash look. That's too expensive for anybody to buy. Yeah, Linda Glover, he needed to get fueled up on his rugs. Then he could hold the fence board so Janie nailed the nails. Big help he was. Well, really curious to know about how much of this substance Janie, she's got to indulge herself. Like, think about how nuts Daniel is and how high he was all of the time around his mom out of that trailer. Because that's really, other than Patty's, that's where he was when he was with this old lady. Now, did he go to the substances when he left his former old lady? That would be an interesting question to ask her. Or if maybe that was part of the reason why they divorced. But it goes part and parcel with all of the magical fantasy world that he wanted to make for this new hussy of his, Malaya, that he picked up and knocked up. The children were just baggage, add-ons. Those were her problem from Daniel's perspective. In reality. But he would promise her all kinds of fantastic things. Well, you can see what sort of wholesome environment that trailer really is. It's just Jesus. Guantanamo Bay, you're saying, Julia? Guantanamo's nicer. It's cleaner. And the weather's better. What condition makes Janie unable to take the polygraph? She claims it to be some heart condition, but she's got some hypertension, you can see. But it's probably, I would think, self-induced by way of whatever Daniel's getting high on as well. Because it's cheaper. She's probably justified it's cheaper than the medication that she really needs. The way that she lies and behaves, I have to think that somehow she's associated with either drugs or other illicit activities around the house, and there's something more that she's trying to hide. And her link to whatever it is that happened that day, whether right now it's just solely trying to bolster home Daniel's alibi. We don't know what the incident was. We just speculate about what it was. We know it happened. Well, Guantanamo's never closed, Linda. I think the CIA just don't use it anymore for their torture campaigns. They've got other places for that. Silver, you got to ground some bud. It's tough for you. You live a tough life. I believe she has a script for anxiety that would alter test results. Who knows, Brandy? All right, guys. It's 2:45. I'm going to shut this down, leave you with some G-Funk. I'll be back tomorrow with another session of airing of the grievances in this particular case, or shit-talking Janie, or maybe Daniel will choose to do tomorrow. I'll leave you with a little G-Funk before I go. Thank you guys for stopping by. Make sure that you keep your eyes out for the uploads. Ba, 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 ba.